meditation often gets associated with a complete stopping of thinking. Many of us have very active thinking minds, and sometimes when we hear or see, read meditations about quietness of mind, stopping the thought process, that can be very attractive. Oh my goodness, what a nice idea, quiet in the mind. It's very appealing, very attractive, but it's also, I feel, based on a misunderstanding or misreading of the teachings. In Buddhist psychology, thought is another sense object. The eye perceives light, the ears perceive sound, the tongue perceives flavors, the nose perceives odors, the body perceives sensations, and the mind perceives thoughts. It's the sixth of the six senses. Chakku and Rupa, Sota and Sada, and so on, Mano and Dhamma. So the mind perceives thoughts. So we shouldn't feel that meditation necessarily involves a complete absence of thinking, just like it doesn't involve a complete absence of sight or physical sensation or sound. It's just another sanya, another perception. Thinking becomes oppressive and problematic when it won't stop. It's just an endless inner chatter. Then it's understandable that we'd like it to go quiet, but it's going too far. It's a mistake to think that any kind of mental activity, any kind of thinking is some kind of kilesa, defilement, or a burden, or intrinsically unsatisfactory. It's just sanya, it's just a perception, that's all. Just like a feeling in the body or a sound of the fans, the aircon, the ringing of the crickets. It's just sanya, chichai. No need to make anything out of it. So as the retreat progresses and the mind gets quieter, for many of you talking in the interviews, there's a lot of experience of inner quietness, that mental chatter becoming much more still, much less busyness in the realm of thought. The mind able to focus in the present and be quite peaceful, spacious. The essential work of insight meditation, vipassana, is applying the reflections on anicca, dukkha, anatta to all experience, to every thought, every emotion, every sound, every sensation, every visual form that we experience. To reflect upon the changing, unsatisfactory, and selfless nature of all experience, and then to see the change of heart that occurs when that recognition, that seeing the empty nature of all perception, all experience, is actualized. When there's the insight of, oh, it's not self. Oh, it's not really a me that is the experiencer, the doer, the meditator. Oh, look at that. So the essential work of insight meditation is is the main task or the main work. And supporting that, we can also cultivate the quality of wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, Dhamma vijaya. These have the same meanings. Ajahn Jiew was talking about this and giving some guidance on this area. But I feel it's helpful to deepen the understanding, the appreciation. So when the mind is very quiet, very peaceful, very still, it's like having a large room like this. It's tidy, it's clean, spacious. We can just sit there and snooze, just sort of switch off and enjoy the quietness in a kind of passive way, just appreciating the contented, happy feeling, but it's in a way not using the space of the mind to the best effect. Like if this hall here was kept clean and tidy and well maintained, but nobody ever came in here, yes, then wouldn't be much use, wouldn't serve a very good purpose. So we come in here and we practice meditation, we chant, we listen to Dhamma teachings. We use the space in an active, creative, dynamic way. So the space of our mind can be used in exactly the same fashion. So when the mind is quiet, there's a sense of openness, spaciousness, peacefulness, then we can use that space to explore different things. If there's a particular issue in your life, there's a conflict or an obsession, something that you're addicted to, something that you're worried about, something that you're irritated by. There's a lot of aversion, negativity. We can take these habits, these aspects of our life, and use that space to explore, like a laboratory, with a workbench. Get the issue onto the bench and open it up, see what's inside, see how it works. A wise reflection, picharana in Thai, or yoniso manasikara, Dhamma vijaya in Pali, is a way of exploring. Why am I so attracted to this, or why am I so irritated by that? Why does this make me so frightened? Why does that person always seem so wrong? Not to create more chattering mental activity, but to use the pattern recognition faculty of wisdom, investigation, to explore. What is behind this? How does this work? Is it always there? I tell myself I'm always frightened, or I'm always irritated, I'm always complaining. Is that so? I tell myself that story, but is it the fact? So with wise reflection, investigation, it doesn't have to involve conceptual thought. The faculty of recognizing patterns and seeing cause and effect, how things relate to each other. It doesn't have to involve our thinking mind. Luang Por Chah would make this point. He would say, Pijarana, contemplation, doesn't have a useful tool in that reflective, contemplative process. The word temple in English comes from the Latin word templum. And a templum was an area marked out on the ground or in the sky that the astrologers or the modu, the kind of spirit readers, would watch what the animals or the birds would do, and they would make predictions, or they would assess a situation. Say, war is coming, but we should avoid it. Or, oh, it's going to be a dry year this year. Or, oh, there's going to be big floods. We should be afraid of fire. These kind of things. So the templum was a designated area that the soothsayers, the astrologers, the jnani, they would watch and look, and they would read the patterns to develop a deeper sense of what's happening, what's at work here. So the building of a temple is, in a way, a structure around that space. But a templum itself is exactly what we mean by contemplation, being in the temple or attending to the temple. We make a defined area in the mind to look at that particular issue, creating a boundary, a gate. Okay, for this period of time, I'll look at why there's an angry reaction to that family member, or why success in the workplace seems so important, or why I'm always worried about what people think of me. So you define a boundary. Okay, let's look at this particular issue. What makes it contemplation is staying within the boundary, exploring how that faculty works, staying with the subject, not just getting lost and carried away and drifting here and there. Sometimes when a particular area is looked at, why is the mind so upset by that, or so excited by that, or why does it keep calling this good when it has such painful results? Where does that come from? What's that about? Sometimes there might be an immediate intuitive sense in the heart. Oh, I think it comes from the fact that, my father died when I was a little child, or the fact that I was a failure at school, or I was so successful at school. An immediate association might pop up. Oh, that feels like it's connected. Other times, nothing arises. It's the ananya tanya samitindriya. Where does this come from? No idea. Not a clue. If that's the case, then leave it alone. Oh, look at that. It's a strong presence in this life, but where it comes from, how it works, not a clue. No idea. So we can use the quiet, spacious, alert mind as a templum, as an area, a defined area in which to contemplate, to explore, to investigate these particular issues within our character, our life. It can also be used to explore particular aspects of the teaching. So many years ago, 1988, 89, 1990, for 3 or 4 years during the winter retreat time at Amaravati, Luang Por Sumedho used those 2 or 3 month periods just to reflect upon paticca samuppada, dependent origination. After the Sangha had been sitting for 2 or 3 weeks and people were calm and quiet, he wouldn't let us just sit there and enjoy the sunbathing, as it were. But he would say, don't just sit there being happy, use your mind. And he would encourage the exact kind of contemplation. And he would take a section of the dependent origination cycle, avijja paccaya sankhara, ignorance, conditions, formations. And for 2 or 3 weeks, he would just talk about avijja paccaya sankhara, raising it up, helping us to explore the meaning of the individual words, getting a feeling for how they relate to each other, really contemplating, looking in, seeing what's understandable, what's not understandable. So he would take the different sections of that whole process of 12 linked factors tanha upadana bhava, craving, clinging, becoming. Or how does feeling condition craving? Vedana pachaya tanha. How does that work? Why does it do that? So we can also use the quiet, spacious brightness of the mind to explore aspects of the Dhamma teachings, things that we know are important or significant, but there's not a real feeling for them, not an understanding. Again, sometimes when you bring the attention to a particular area, there might be an intuitive sense immediately. Oh, feeling conditions craving because of the mind's attachments, its habits, because of not seeing clearly, because of ignorance. Begins with ignorance. So when a feeling arises, of course, pleasant feeling leads to I want it. Painful feeling leads to I hate it. Aha. If there isn't ignorance, if there's vijja instead of avijja, when there's a feeling, it doesn't work in the same way. It's just pleasant feeling. That's it. Painful feeling. That's it. The mind doesn't add anything to it. Aha. Look at that. So sometimes that kind of contemplative process can make things very clear and change the attitude, change the habits. Other times it can be mysterious. The ananyatanya samitindriya. What actually does sankhara mean? And sankhara pachaya vijnana. How on earth does whatever sankhara is condition whatever vijnana is? Okay, in this moment that's unclear, just if that's the case. So it's mysterious. What do those words mean? What do they refer to? What's the experience here that is being pointed to by the word sankhara or vijnana? What is this? So again, not leading to just mental proliferation, prapancha, brungdang, but exploring, investigating. And when things are mysterious, like with the first introduction I had to Paticca Samuppada, most of it was completely mysterious. I could understand feeling, condition, craving, and conditioning, craving, but the rest was like, whew, I haven't got a clue what this is about. So that process over 3 or 4 years, led by Luang Por Sumedho, was so helpful, both to understand dependent origination a bit better, but also to learn how to use pijarana, the faculty of wise reflection. As that is one of the third one of the 4 factors supportive of stream entry. Yoniso manasikara. Wise reflection is a direct support for stream entry, for that quality of the first stage of liberation. So as the meditation proceeds, as we spend our hours and days together, this is one use that the bright and quiet mind can be put to. Sometimes people then ask the question, well, okay, but what is the difference between wise reflection and just thinking? Well, when it's the prungdang, just the conceptual proliferation, the mind kind of thinks without much of a gap, and we think in half-formed sentences, just one thought chasing after another. When the process is that of wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, Dhamma vijaya, then if there is conceptual thought being used, we think in whole sentences. Where does this come from? The mind is easily excited by this kind of a smell, this kind of taste. Where does that come from? Pause. So with wise reflection, there's a spaciousness. You think in whole sentences, and there's a spacious quality. There's the silence of the mind, then bringing in a question or a statement. I tell myself I'm always anxious. Is that really true? Pause. So there's a spacious, measured quality to wise reflection that's not there when it's just mental chatter. So it has a completely different tone. So rather than just a kind of a chaos of, one half-formed thought chasing after another, there's spaciousness, balance. There's a quality of coherence. Things are well ordered. There's a lot of silence in the process of contemplation. Now, if we make the intention to investigate some aspect of the teaching or some aspect of our character, our life, and we start out with the idea of wise reflection, but then within 2 or 3 minutes, it's just thinking, Krungdang, the conceptual proliferation, the papancha mill has started up. Notice that. Well, this is no longer wise reflection. This is vipassa papancha. This is not helpful. So there was the intention to practice wise reflection, but it's changed into just random mental chatter. Okay, stop, let go, bring the attention back to the body, to the breath. Re-establish the posture, re-establish the quality of inner quietness, settledness. And then, if it seems suitable, go back to the contemplation once again. Oh, why did the mind get carried away, get lost in that? What was the cause of that distraction? Where did that come from? So we can use this reflective process to help support the quality of wisdom, understanding the cause and effect relationship. Because of this cause, there's this effect. This is the origin, this is the result. Aha. And it's through understanding cause and effect, seeing how one thing relates to another. That's the supportive practice for upekkha, serenity, which in turn is a supportive quality for insight, for true wisdom. Seeing clearly how the world works, how nature operates, the heart lets go, stops identifying with those patterns, those forms. This is the cause, this is the effect. It's not a person, doesn't belong to a person. It's not me or mine. It's just nature following its own laws. That's all. With the development of wise reflection, it's also good to consider that the fundamental reality of things can't be contained in words. So if you've got a very intelligent mind that likes to figure everything out and have explanations for everything, any kind of conceptual structure, any kind of naming or description, it can only be an approximation, a convenient fiction, a best guess. Words and concepts can't really contain the reality. So rather than trying to explain everything or understand everything conceptually, we use concepts, language, to help the heart to arrive at the quality of a peaceful awareness, not trying to explain everything, conceptually package everything, but rather to use those thoughts as tools, as the Buddha said, like a raft that helps the heart to cross from the dangerous place to the safe place. That's what the words and concepts are for, the Dhamma teachings. They're just a raft, not to be carried around. Any kind of conception, any thought, any words, as I was saying, yena yena himanyanti tatotang hoti anyatati. Whatever it is conceived to be, the truth is always other than that. Words and concepts don't have enough dimensions to embody the reality. They can point to ways that reality can be known, can be actualized, realized, but words can't fully and completely represent that reality. It can point the way, but it's only the heart that can know its own nature, and that knowing is wordless, non-conceptual, immediate.